Welcome to The Advocates. I'm Aaron Dean. The city of Orlando has now approved plans to purchase the Pulse nightclub and turn it into a memorial for the victims. The Orlando City Council voted unanimously in favor of buying the Pulse nightclub site for $2 million. They plan to turn the 4,500 square foot property into a permanent memorial to the 49 people killed in the 2016 mass shooting. Orlando City leaders say that the purchase of the property does not absolve the owners of any lawsuits. Now, the mayor says that he hopes that the sale and the memorial will bring comfort to the survivors and the victims' families. According to a new report, over 100,000 transgender kids are currently living in states with restrictive laws. They are losing access to youth sports, healthcare, and restroom choices. The study was done by the Williams Institute at UCLA and says that a third of trans teens aged 13 to 17 are impacted. 22 states have banned gender-affirming care for minors, affecting an estimate of 92,700 transgender teens. And in an effort to be more inclusive, reproductive health experts have updated how they define infertility. The definition has been expanded to include anyone needing medical interventions to achieve a successful pregnancy, either as an individual or with a partner. The new definition was issued by the American Society for Reproductive Medicine Practice Committee. The CEO of the American Society for Reproductive Medicine says that the revised definition reflects that of all people, regardless of marital status, sexual orientation, or gender identity. Kimberly Bryant is a true changemaker for her community. She's founded organizations like Black Innovation Lab and Black Girls Code. She's now taking her wisdom on the road for the Real Talk Drives Real Change tour by Urban One and Chevrolet. In this upcoming stop on October 25th in Dallas, Texas at Paul Quinn College, Bryant will be discussing Black women entrepreneurship with other leading experts. I connected with Bryant about the need to share resources and ideas to advance the culture. Hello, Kimberly Bryant. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Aaron. I'm happy to be here and glad to speak with you today.
Yeah, so you are a part of the Real Talk Brings Real Change tour, and your involvement in its upcoming session is going to be centered around Black women in entrepreneurship. Tell us a little bit about this tour and why you wanted to be involved.
Yes, so this tour has been sort of circling the nation, diving into a lot of topics. Some of them have been about business, some of them have been about Black men, mental health, etc. But this particular stop that we're doing in Dallas that I'm participating in is really focused on Black women and entrepreneurship. And that is an area that's near and dear to my heart as an entrepreneur myself, but also as someone who's now on the other side of the table as an investor and looking to kind of dig into those issues that are most relevant for other women like myself who are founders and innovators and looking to build real impact through their work. So I thought it was a perfect time for me to get involved and share some of my expertise and talents with this whole movement, if you will.
So, when we talk about Black women in entrepreneurship, what are some of the unique experiences that are faced in comparison, to the white counterparts?
That's a good question. When I think about Black women as entrepreneurs, I think of it from a historical standpoint and legacy, if you will. I've been doing a lot of work and digging into my own history, but really cognizant of the fact that Black women have been founders of things and movements for decades. We were some of the earliest founders in the civil rights movement and the women's rights movement. My grandmother moved with her siblings from Mississippi and became an entrepreneur. So we've always been here in this space. We just haven't been recognized and visibly given the type of support that we need to really thrive and be the Bill Gates, if you will, of the world. That's also like how I really started my path in the tech industry, was wanting to see more women that look like me or look like my daughter rising to the top as leaders in the tech industry. But we face challenges consistently. Most of us have trouble with founding companies because we can't find the support financially to support our visions and our dreams. Or if we do find there's a support, we have to jump over so many hurdles and obstacles just to get the traction that we need to grow and scale our businesses. And that's very often different than we see, especially our white male counterparts who have a much easier time, if you will, in even the good and bad times with be getting the same support that Black women have so much so struggled to get for our endeavors.
According to Forbes, no demographic of entrepreneurs has grown faster than African American women. Black women entrepreneurs have started companies over 4 times the global population rate. But then JP Morgan reports and states that 3% of Black women owned companies mature and survive longer than 5 years. You've made it past that point clearly, with Black Girls Code. How can communities, investors, and all of that, how can everyone come together to make sure that 3% becomes 4, 5, 6, 7, 30, 70, 100? How can we all work together to make that number grow?
Yes, that's a great question. And I love that you speak with numbers because numbers don't lie. And I love it. And I think one of the things that, myself and some of the fellow, Black women investors and entrepreneurs, we're like, you know, we're sure that the elephant in the room has been revealed. So it's clear that Black women are at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of investment. So what needs to happen now is like the checks need to be written. It's clear that Black women and even women-led businesses tend to be more successful than our male counterparts in terms of returns and capital. So it's not clearly not a question of are these businesses have potential? They do, but we don't see enough funding and support that is being given to women to lead and both scale these businesses. And when we do, we see initiatives lately, such as the Fearless Fund, get attacked for these efforts to add a little bit of support to the ecosystem. And I think it's going to take a collective effort, both from the government standpoint, corporate partner standpoint, as well as the community to really invest in and uplift these founders that are, Black women as much as we possibly can.
And you touched on it a little bit. You say they need to write them checks.
Yes.
Are there resources like grants and other supports that are already out there for Black women that they can tap into that you want to share with our audience?
Yes, there are definitely lots of opportunities with this administration. I think we're in a moment now where our Vice President Kamala Harris and the Biden administration have done a lot to support equity for small businesses. So there are government opportunities to partner and become contractors for federal agencies and such, where there's a lot of opportunities for grants from the Small Business Administration, from the National Science Foundation, from the MBDA, Minority Business Development Association, that women should explore as opportunities to seek investment. And I call that non-dilutive capital. So capital that flows into your business without you having to give up equity in the business, which is extremely important. I think those should be options that are explored first and as a major, I want to say, vehicle for funding companies, and that they're already out there and now. And I think it's imperative that we take advantage of them.
And focusing back in on the tour, with this next stop, you'll be talking directly to, Black millennial and Gen Z women navigating and creating new businesses, all of that. How do you hope that your story will not only inspire but educate them to keep going or get started?
Oh, I would say from my experience, I want to tell them that, this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. Like my career, I've had, oh my God, almost like 3 different careers. I started out in corporate America, then I moved into the nonprofit space, then I moved back into entrepreneurship, and now as an investor. And I still have some, I think, initiatives in me. So I think one of the things that I want young women to see is that even if, you don't know exactly what it is that you want to do right now, the most important thing is to get started. And then I think the other thing I would say is, we as Black women have this strong, I think, not industrial, but ancestral thread and legacy of resilience. And this race is going to have peaks and valleys, and I think it's important for us to exercise this muscle around resilience so that we can stay the course, because the most important thing is to keep going.
For tickets and other information about the Real Talk Drives Real Change tour, visit change.newsone.com. Thanks so much for watching The Advocates. I'm Aaron Dean.